There's always going to be some debate about what causes premature ejaculation. Are guys too sensitive, too excited, too much masturbating, not enough masturbating? When it comes to lifelong premature ejaculation, that's always finding it difficult to last from every time from when we first became sexually active. There are two things to bear in mind. There is probably some physiological cause, and it's probably to do with serotonin receptors. See my other video about that. And because of this, lifelong premature ejaculation can feel really difficult to overcome. And then there's the added stress and the frustration of that, and the problem really sets in. When it feels severe, maybe we're talking about coming in seconds or coming before we're able to penetrate and begin intercourse, then things can feel even more hopeless. So here's a bit of brain science which might help to explain what's going on here. In 2019, medical researchers in Turkey took a bunch of guys who struggled with lifelong PE and a control group of guys who didn't. They put them through MRI scans because they wanted to compare their brains. They wanted to see whether men with premature ejaculation had any noticeable differences in their brain structures. They found that guys who ejaculate sooner had a bigger caudate nucleus. Now, this is a part that sits deep in the brain, and there are actually two of them, one in each hemisphere, and they're sort of like a C shape. Anyway, the difference was significant. The men with lifelong premature ejaculation had a higher mean volume of the caudate nucleus. It wasn't abnormal or broken or anything like that, just more voluminous. So what does this part of the brain do? Well, it's a bit mysterious, but we do know that the caudate nucleus is involved in movement, learning, memory, reward, and get this, romantic interactions. The scans showed that the volume of the caudate nucleus was directly related to men's sexual experience. The guys who lasted longest, theirs had smaller volume. Now, this raises a question which you might well be thinking right now. So if my caudate nucleus is a bit bigger and that somehow relates to my sexual function, is this a permanent thing, or can I do something about it? The researchers touched on this in their conclusion. Whether the subcortical changes are the cause or the consequence of lifelong premature ejaculation remains unclear, they said. Well, allow me to add a bit more positivity here. We know that brain regions, including the caudate nucleus, have an ability to change and adapt. Think of all those brain training games and apps. They vary in quality and usefulness, but they are based on the very real concept of neuroplasticity. The structure of the brain isn't fixed. It's not permanent. It's quite plastic. So with training, ideally a bit every day, the brain does take notice and rearranges things, building new connections and neural pathways. This is how habits, both wanted and unwanted, are formed. But it does take some effort and consistency. I'd love to be offering this quick hack or quick solution for lasting longer in bed. But the reality is it takes a bit of training. And that's why it can feel frustrating and a bit of an effort for guys. Overcoming premature ejaculation is about learning some new skills and then practicing them, making those new connections. So it's remembered even when we're all turned on and distracted during sex. Sometimes guys say, yeah, but sex isn't like playing a training game or learning a foreign language. We don't get to do it, to practice it that often. And when we do have sex, it's not for very long. That's the problem. But the essential skills, breathing, relaxation, letting go of tension in the lower body, movement, and even the focus work that I show guys can be done on your own during the day for a minute or two. Yes, you want it to all come together when you're sexually aroused, and there are ways to develop that too. But you can train these things regularly and easily enough to start bedding it in, making these things your own. The other thing I hear is, yeah, but I'm 42 or 56 and I've been ejaculating quickly for years. I've tried these things before. How is change going to happen now? I can understand that feeling, and I'd say that the brain never stops changing and adapting if we give it different experiences. Again, often and clearly enough. And what did you learn when you tried to slow down before? What can we take from this and do differently now? Did you have an actual routine to follow before, or were you, trying bits and pieces now and again? Again, consistency is key here. So maybe you're one of the guys with a bit of work to do. Maybe you started out with a bit of a predisposition to come sooner, and maybe the size of your caudate nucleus would confirm that. But sticking with the plan and working on these moves will optimize and enhance what you already have. It could be that the problem of premature ejaculation isn't just missing skills. The processes of your arousal curve and your ejaculatory reflex run deep in you, deep within your brain. But maybe we still have more influence over this than we might realise, even if the problem feels lifelong or severe. Thank you for watching, and please do check out my other videos for more. If you have any questions about premature ejaculation or sexual confidence in general, please feel free to get in touch, and my website is linked in the description below this video. Also remember that I am a therapist sharing my opinions and general advice, but this is no substitute for going to see your own GP or doctor. So if you have any concerns about health or your sexual health, you should go and get a medical checkup and take some advice. Thank you very much for watching.